Welcome back, Science 10. This is Investigation 8.4, Household Products and pH, and it's based on pages 300 to 301 of the textbook. And the purpose of this lab is to look at various household substances and see if they're acidic, basic, or neutral. And we'll determine that by analyzing them and figuring out the pH of each of them. So, first of all, predict the pH of various household substances to determine how acidic or basic they in fact are. So first of all, you have to do is figure out, okay, what happens in terms of the indicators that we're using. We're using red litmus paper, blue litmus paper, and of course the pH that you discovered earlier in an assignment. An acid, for example, what color should red litmus paper be? What color should blue litmus paper be when present in an acid? And similarly, base and water. So I want you to fill in those question marks. What colors should those be? And in terms of pH, we looked at that earlier. Acids should be less than 7, bases greater than 7, and water, it's neutral, so it's around 7. Background here, of course, I have that here. So the pH values, you've seen this again earlier on. So neutral substances are around 7, acidic substances are below, and bases are higher. And I'll have a textbook laid out there so you'll be able to see the procedure as to how to do this. Yes, safety goggles, of course, acids and bases. You don't want to get those in your eyeballs. And the big thing here is only use a few drops. You don't need, it's not a case of more is better. Just use a few drops of each of the substances I have. All the substances I have are liquid form, and just a few drops of it, and then you can do your tests that you'll see on the next page there. Okay, so only a few drops. Okay, and so the first thing you're going to do is to doing the acid test. You're going to be testing hydrochloric acid. What happens when you put red litmus in it, blue litmus paper, phenolphthalein solution, and then I have actual pH papers which turn a certain color, and you can use that color by looking at the key on the pH bottle that the papers come in and see what the value of that is. Sodium hydroxide is the base, what happens, and then water, what happens there. So these are your test samples, your control samples, so you know what happens with acids, bases, and neutral substances in each of these indicators. The litmus papers, the phenolphthalein, and the pH paper. Okay? Now, at the front of the room, I'll have various household substances. Some of them are things you eat. Some of them are cleaning supplies. You'll just have to look and test at least 9 things. Like I have enough room for, let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have enough room for about 9 or 10 items here. So make sure you test at least 9, just so you get a good handle of everything. So substance tested, been tested with red litmus, blue litmus, phenolphthalein, pH paper, and by all of that data there, is it acid, base, or neutral? When you compare it to your controls here, what happens to acids, bases. So you should be able to make a valid prediction here as to what that household substance is. Some of them can be quite surprising. Then lastly, in the conclusion, what were you going to do? The purpose was to there really wasn't a prediction here, so we didn't really have a hypothesis. Well, we kind of did, I guess. But don't worry about it. It was kind of just predicting what these colors would be. And you should know that. We did that earlier in an assignment. So don't worry about the hypothesis or what you thought would happen. And just kind of summarize what happened was the best way you can. Okay? Then follow-up questions. What are indications of something that's acidic? What are indications of a basic substance? What are indications of a neutral substance? And then after the lab here, what type of everyday things tend to be acidic? So in your daily life, what are things that tend to be acidic? And then the second last question here, what type of things tend to be basic in your everyday life? And then in the lab here, were there any things that were neutral? What were they? So that gives you an idea of everyday neutral things. Okay, so that should be all you need. Good luck with the lab.